For many, it's the worst season of the year. And no, I'm not talking about winter, but about tax season. Joining us to help navigate it is Jerry Viteratos, who loves doing his taxes. Don't you, Jerry? Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah. Like I was telling you before, I read the budget for fun. It's scary. It really is.
You're the person to talk to about this. So let's just start with the human element here. Do you see many people that dread going through this process because it's either complicated or intimidating?
Yes and yes. The short answer is that. I mean, for most people, unfortunately, they do dread. And quite frankly, it is complex in certain areas as well. That's the reason. The government, unfortunately, doesn't make it simple in certain areas. And on top of it, they just keep changing it every single year. Just look at last year when it came to the capital gains inclusion rate, where they decided, well, we're going to put it. Oh, maybe we're not going to put it. Maybe we're going to put it. You know, they just couldn't make up their minds. Right. So, yeah, I can understand people who are dreading it. It can be intimidating, but to be honest with you, for most Canadians, it's actually pretty simple. Most Canadians' returns are actually pretty simple.
Well, you mentioned some changes, and there are a lot of changes this year, including increased credits for senior home support. But, which ones do you think people should know about that are pretty useful to them?
I think on the federal side would be the middle class tax cut, which basically affects everybody in this case. So what the government has done on the federal side in this case, although Quebec did it last year, is that they are reducing the first the tax rate of the first tax bracket from 15% to 14%, and they're doing this progressively. So because they made the announcement midway through the year, around the month of June, they're going to cut it to 14.5% for 2025, which is this season right now, and then they're cutting it to 14% for 2026. And essentially what this means is that for the first 57,000 and change that you make in the year, you will pay 14.5% instead of 15% on the federal side. So that's the big change as far as the federal. The rest of the changes that came about were essentially targeted towards businesses and more specifically for depreciation expenses due to the trade war that's going on right now with the US. But in general, the big one is that middle class tax cut, which affects everybody. I mean, everybody's going to be in that first tax bracket, regardless of your income. So you're getting a 0.5 percentage mark decrease. And then next year, we're going down to 14%.
Well, on top of that, deadline to contribute to an RRSP fast approaching. What advice do you have for people who want to make the most of that?
Panic and run. Try to scrounge up as much money as you can. No, what I would say is, right now, I mean, the deadline's coming up. You're absolutely right. I believe it's March 2nd because I think March 1st falls on a weekend in this case. But essentially, it is the first 60 days of the year. That's the rule, unless it falls on a weekend. So what it allows you to do is to catch up, essentially. So even though you're contributing in 2026 in the first 60 days, you're declaring it in 2025. That's the good news. What I tell people is, again, get organized. The best thing you can do is essentially do monthly installments if you can. Whatever it is, even if it's a small amount, just do monthly installments. That way you're not hurrying up and trying to scrounge the cash at the last second to try to contribute to your RSP.
You don't need to tell me to panic. I'm already worried about doing my taxes, so don't worry about that. We don't have a lot of time, but if you're very keen, maybe like you are, you can file your taxes starting Monday if you really want to do it on the first day. Is there any advantage to doing it early besides just getting it done and out of the way?
That's one advantage. The other advantage would be, for example, you have a balance owing, you would have more time. First of all, you would know what your balance owing is. You would have more time to be able to pay it off. But what I would say is I would wait probably till beginning March. And the reason why I would say that is, yes, you're absolutely right. Monday is basically, the clinchers when, tax season really starts because the government opens the doors to electronic filing. Whether you're going to prepare or whether you're doing it yourself, you can electronically file as of Monday. The catch, though, is it's very likely you don't have all your slips. And the reason I say that is because all the emitters of the slips, whether it's your employer, whether it's your financial institution, they have till February 28th to produce those slips and send a copy to the government. And then usually once they do that, they'll send a copy to the beneficiaries or the people who are receiving those slips. So that's why it's a little too early in February 23rd. I would say first week of March would usually be the best bet because you'd be sure to have all your slips in hand.
Well, Jerry, it might be the best time of the year for you, and I'm sure a lot of people have taken this advice to heart. Thank you very much. We appreciate your expertise.
Well, thank you for having me.